I had so much hope for this book, and it turned out to be one of the worst books I read all year. And it was one of the last books that I DNF'd. So, do you mind? Don't smile at me, it's weird. Anyway, I got this from Illumicrate. It was part of the Starbright subscription. It was the first, actually, book that I'd had from the Starbright subscription. And it sounded like an interesting book, and what it turned out to be was a load of waffly nonsense that I couldn't wrap my head around. It was... it felt like it was a massive info dump of stuff that didn't really have any weight to it. It didn't feel like it was important. It felt like it was just saying words for the sake of it. And some of this stuff I'm going to say is going to sound really petty, but when you're trying to read a story and get to the flow of the story, when things are constantly stopping you or jarring you out of that, it really, really is irritating and highly irritating. So the names in this book are really difficult to say and pronounce. So you have to stop and think about, how do I say that? Because there's no pronunciation guide. And then when a name is repeated, the entirety of the name is repeated every time. That's irritating. Secondly, I stopped counting at 10 variations, but there are so many pronouns in this book. Now, if you know me, and you've watched me for a long time, or if you know me personally, live your life, do what you want. Nothing to do with me. But the author has invented several different pronouns for this book to assign to a species or a people or whatever. But there are so many, and you can't keep track of which person is which pronoun, and then some of them you have to stop and go, how do you say that? And try and work it out. And all of this stuff just interrupts the flow of the story. And it's such a harsh writing style for the brain to comprehend. I couldn't do it. I had to just stop. Nothing of significance had happened, and I just couldn't go any further. And I asked people on threads, is it just me, or are other people finding this hard? Some people did say the same as me, but a lot of people were like, well, this was my book of the year, so I don't know what you're talking about. So this is probably just a case of disconnect on my part, but it was too complicated, too drawn out, too unnecessarily over the top with invention of place names and people names and all these different things. I just couldn't read it. There was no flow, there was no rhythm, there was nothing. So I ended up DNFing it over a quarter of the way through, because I pushed and pushed and pushed, and I just couldn't get through to it. I couldn't find the story past all of the jumble and the window dressing, and I just couldn't do it. So I DNF'd it. If I'd have finished it, I probably would have given it 2 stars, but I DNF'd it. So a huge disappointment. I've only had 2 books from Illumicrate, and both of them have been awful. So my hopes for this month are not particularly high. But yeah, I just couldn't do it. So yeah, let me know if you managed to read Slow Gods or what you thought of it, but I couldn't find a rhythm. Not for me.